But people online are mean and they make fun of me. They say that boost will arrive in 1 to 3 business days. Like it'll never come. But what the heck do they know? They don't have a 350Z with a rear mount turbocharged making 600 wheel horsepower. 600 horsepower, baby. When it comes at 3,000 RPM or 4,000 RPM, doesn't matter to me. When it hits, I'm just smiling the whole time, dude. The whole time. I promise if you get a ride in this car, you will not be doing anything but smiling. Hey guys, Caleb with Black Pearl Media. If you've never been here before, my name is Caleb. I have a 350Z with a turbo in its butt. I've had the car for a long time, and in this episode, I'm gonna be telling you why I did that and why people make fun of me for it. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into the video, for my returning viewers just wanting an update on the 350Z because I haven't dropped much content on it recently, it's still broken. The clutch exploded at the track last year. It's been off the road since. It's been a very long hiatus because my wife and I bought this house and got a garage and a lot of moving parts, but I haven't forgotten about it. The clutch exploded, but we have a new clutch. Clutch is actually installed, but I'm still in the process of getting the transmission up by myself. It's kind of challenging because I don't have that much clearance. I don't have another set of hands, which, you know, I have had a few people come and give me a hand here and there, but it's not done yet, but it's close is what I'm trying to say. So it will be back on the ground soon. Nobody wants to see it on the ground more than me, trust me, and I cannot wait to get this on the road this year, driving around, making tons of content for you guys, and I just miss it, man. I miss driving this thing a lot. My 350Z is super important to me because I have done a lot in this car that have been memorable and impactful to me as a human being in my life. From the first date with my wife to then getting married 3 or 4 years later, I can't remember, sorry honey, spending time with loved ones and building relationships, building this car, hanging out with this car, driving this car, filming this car. I love all the connections it's made, and it's something I will treasure forever. Right after purchasing this vehicle, I went right into modifying it from all new suspension, wheels, tires, big brake kit, bucket seats, cosmetics, all this really fun stuff. And I even tuned it, made some okay power when it was naturally aspirated, drive the heck out of it, put like 40,000 miles on it, and just loved every single second of it. One day I saw a video on Facebook. It was a video of a G35 flying by this guy on the highway, sounding like a freaking rocket ship, and there was a big old turbo sticking out of its butt and flames were flying everywhere. And I thought to myself, where can I get me one of them? Now, I had no idea what a rear mount turbo system really was all about or how they worked, and I had all the same questions that people ask me all the time. So I went into the comment section and this guy was in there answering all the questions. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. If I remember, I'll put it on screen right here. You should go check him out. He started it all for me, and I went ahead and looked further into rear mounts. I was intrigued. I really thought it was unique, and I didn't know that a turbo could work back there. And you know, in my mind, I figured, well, there's already pipes coming to the back of the car anyway. Just hook up a turbo, run a line back, and we should be good to go, right? It's not that simple. Obviously, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that was the general idea in my head. So I started asking around to a lot of my friends that had a lot more knowledge in this area, and I wanted them to give me some more things to think about when thinking about planning this build and how we were gonna move forward with it. Ooh, there's a big storm going on outside right now. So like I mentioned before, at the time, there wasn't many people that had done this, or at least documented it. Of course, after the kit was already built and I was posting, everybody and their brother has had one, heard of one, or seen one. Now let me just give you a brief overview of the pros and cons, because I do already have a video on that. But the pros that I saw were that easy to work on, it's naturally cooling, and to the point where some people don't even run an intercooler, and it's not impacting and cramping the engine bay. Now, if you guys are fans of Donut Media, they do that high-low series where they did 2 350Zs, which they turbocharged, and they kept those turbos in the engine. Well, I don't know if both of them failed or low car failed, but one of them failed at least. And when they did the engine teardown, they saw that the heat compromised one of the cylinders and ruined the engine. So with the turbo being in the butt of the car, it's not close to the engine, it's not heat soaking everything, and you can sleep soundly at night knowing my engine's not gonna fail. Hopefully. It also really enhances the sound of a VQ, which, as most of you know, VQs can sound obnoxious, but with a turbo acting as its resonator, it sounds pretty mint to me. But people online are mean, and they make fun of me. They say that Boost will arrive in 1 to 3 business days. Like it'll never come. But what the heck do they know? They don't have a 350Z with a rear mount turbocharged making 600 wheel horsepower. 600 horsepower, baby. When it comes at 3,000 RPM or 4,000 RPM, doesn't matter to me. When it hits, I'm just smiling the whole time, dude. The whole time. I promise if you get a ride in this car, you will not be doing anything but smiling. Really, that is the one thing that everybody comments on, that turbo lag is a huge deal. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. There is certainly turbo lag. There is, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's not as significant as people make it out to be. This was one of my main concerns when looking into this system and thinking like, oh man, is this really gonna be worth it? I'm gonna spend all this money, put all this effort into it, and it's not even gonna be usable. It is certainly usable. I did autocross with it last year. I didn't do a ton of events. I think I only got to 1 before this thing broke, but it is extremely effective. You know, the boost comes on immediately and it gives you enough time to turn through a corner before it's completely caught up with you and you're powering through every turn. I also really like it for daily driving that way, because when you're driving it around sub 3,000 RPM, you're not putting any extra pressure on this car. I mean, you're just driving it like it's a regular VQ, and they're very reliable and very fun to drive with 300 horsepower. But when you need that power, you just step on the gas, baby, it'll be there. It'll be there. Now, because the clutch blew up on track, I didn't have an opportunity to really push its limits and give you guys an honest review of how it did on track. I can just confidently tell you that autocross, check, daily driving, check, back roads, check, all good for that. I know it's low too, by the way, I'm gonna mention this. It's basically flush with everything else and I haven't had a single clearance issue. And trust me, I've hit some behemoths of potholes like last year, especially one in Hartford. If anybody's in Connecticut, they know Hartford roads. I literally drove it through the Grand Canyon and I thought I had damaged everything. I pulled over immediately, looked, don't even have a scratch on anything. Everything cleared, we're all good. Don't recommend it, don't do it on purpose for sure, but I have had 0 clearance issues with my setup. Getting back to the track, I am looking forward to getting back on track sometime this year, so I hope you guys will stick around, subscribe to the channel, and ask any further questions you want down in the comment section. I'm not trying to put down anybody that is unaware of like the boost lag and what to expect. I get it, man. They're not all over the place, they're not around everywhere, and it's an honest question, it really is. So I just want to reassure you guys that it's really not as bad as you might think, and if that's what's holding you back from, you know, doubling your horsepower and really enjoying your car, don't overthink it, man. If this is a setup you're looking to do and you know you want to try this out, I think it's a totally viable option. So if you guys have any questions, drop it in the comment section below, and hopefully I can finish up getting this clutch back in, and I'll see you guys soon on the road with the 350Z rear mount turbocharged and rocking and rolling. I'll see you guys on the next one.